You're gonna be under arrest.
For what?
For not listening to me.
I think the emergency is the video, somebody's videotaping.
Okay. And the shirt says, I believe, balls deep. He says his name is Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you. And we got an explosive look on the inside today coming to us from ATL Transparency News out of Atlanta, Georgia, Cobb County. There's a internal affairs investigation being done. He brings us the video of that internal affairs investigation. This deputy sheriff is known for using excessive force and anger issues. Definitely a good look on the inside and how they treat them versus how they treat us. Take a look at it. Definitely go like, share, and subscribe. Let them know the Major sent you. And leave me a comment down below about what you think about this IA interview and how they handled it with the officer and what you think should be done to this officer. Alright guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
Hey, what we're about to watch is a deputy sheriff that bashed a guy's skull in so bad that he fractured it. This guy fractured a man's skull. And he was allowed to continue holding a gun and a badge of the state. Try to figure that one out on your own. Just a couple of months ago, another deputy sheriff was arrested and fired for doing the same exact thing. Something this guy's done on multiple occasions. Now put this into a bigger picture. These are the people that they're sending out to cover up the abuse of children. I've been trying to get the Cobb County Safety Department to go ahead and do an investigation on the abuse happening at the schools. Even the national news has reported on this, that their numbers went from reporting of crimes on children from into the hundreds, 900,000, down to almost 10. Go figure that out in a 1-year period of time. These guys are covering up the abuse of children, and they're using the police to help them cover it up. Now mind you here, these are very dirty people. These cops, they don't know the law. They don't know the Constitution. And it actually works to their advantage not to know the law or the Constitution, because they could claim ignorance and qualified immunity for it. Go figure. Where else can you get a job where it's beneficial not to know your job? Only the police, the sheriff department. And this Huval character, I was unlawfully detained with Sheriff Wright, Deputy Sheriff Wright, in the DA's office. Man put on gloves, wanted to arrest me and beat me down. So I wrote up an internal affairs complaint on him. And over a year later, they still haven't finished it. Over a year for this complaint, and they haven't finished. Did you know, and I'm about to tell you so you will know, the same person that did this investigation on a guy who fractured a man's skull and they just gave him a day off is the same person investigating, yes, my internal affairs complaint. Huval is his name in Cobb County Internal Affairs Department. So how do you think that complaint is going to go? If they're willing to let a deputy sheriff get off for fracturing a man's skull, come on, guys. Well, watch this. And you'll notice at the end, it gets cut off. Where's the rest of this? I put in for a FOIA for the entire thing. Well, where is it? This gets cut off at the end. What are they trying to hide? But go ahead. Take a look, people. I need likes. I need comments. I need subscriptions. I need to get this information out. Call. Find out why these people are dirty. Ask questions of your government. Redress your government. You're allowed to. They don't like it when you do, but you're allowed to.
That was a no-go.
Was that the same time Chadwick showed up?
That was before Chadwick came out there, I think, because it was before Rambula, I guess Rambula called Chadwick in the office and said, Sergeant needs help or something,
Okay.
because it wasn't broadcast over the radio.
Yeah, was the medical call broadcast on the radio at all?
Yes, I called Deputy McBurnett on the radio, who's 441,
Mm-hmm.
so can you send a nurse to the infirmary? Or send a nurse over to RPOD.
I heard you say that you called him earlier. I just didn't know if you
I called.
stepped into the tower and called.
No, I called him on the radio. I never left like the 5 foot area around him until
Okay.
he rolled out. So.
All right. Was medical staff pretty prompt in their response?
The first nurse got there within a minute or two,
Okay. They start working on him as far as
but
first aid at all?
they didn't touch him at all.
Okay.
They went, when the infirmary nurses got there, I think they tried to check his, because he was still in handcuffs, he was handcuffed behind his back, laying on his stomach. I think they tried to check his vital signs, but they didn't do anything other than that, because they didn't call an ambulance. So.
Was he actively bleeding at that point, or had the bleeding kind of?
From what I can tell, there was the blood from the original, because it was a little bit on the top of the ledge, a little bit underneath the ledge, and like 3 little drops. And he had blood come out of his nose, and he had a little puddle like under his nose where he'd been laying there, which I honestly think that's from him being on, when I rolled him over, because I held his head and rolled his body and then grabbed his arm out from underneath him, because he wouldn't give me his arm. Grabbed his arm and they handcuffed it. But he had a little blood right there, and there was a little blood, when they finally picked him up, he had a little blood patch like on his pocket, where it was like a glob had come out of his nose.
Okay.
And that was pretty much all the blood. I mean, it was all contained within about 2 feet of his head, and it wasn't like a...
If it had time to make a little pool right at the tower, was he at the tower for a few seconds before? Did y'all pull him out from away from the tower?
When we hit, I guess, I mean, I'm trying to visualize it because I haven't really gone back and thought about it, but when we went down, he went down kind of, I guess, on his back, he hit it and he rolled onto his side, and that's when I was on top of him. I'm assuming Chadwick was right here.
That's what you remember.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, no, I'm assuming Chadwick went with me, because we all kind of just went that way. It was kind of, like, we were face to face, and we kind of went at a 45-degree angle that way, backwards and kind of over his leg.
Like that.
Where am I?
Can you make it out?
So is this him?
That's him.
So this is him, so I'm here,
That's
and I'm
you.
assuming Chadwick is here.
Yep.
Yeah, so he kind of went like right there, and he hit like that bottom ledge, and he was laying like that, so I don't know where his left arm is on me, and my head is about here, and my body is across him like this, so I hit him from there. I'm on my knees, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And Chadwick is, I'm assuming, back here.
Okay.
I know it's a very horrible drawing, but
I understand. I'm just trying to. So the.
so the tower at this point is right here,
Okay.
or actually it's pretty much closer, but it's like right in there. Like I think his butt was about touching the wall at that point, or his back was touching the wall. I mean, he was right up against it.
All right, stand up for me. I'll be the inmate. Where was the inmate? He had you here?
You know, this,
You still hurting?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Like you gotta get less of a grip of. Okay, it was basically this.
Like a pinch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had my shirt all wrapped up. It was a little bit tighter, but yeah.
So he thought
Yeah,
you had
basically-
your shirt in your arm, and then you had his wrist.
I had it here and here.
and then you took him down.
Yeah, the first one I went like this, got
Stayed
pushed,
up.
and it did nothing.
Chadwick tried to
So
pull
Chadwick was
off.
pulling, and we went this way.
Okay.
Got it just straight down.
So and then he ended up.
He ended up- I guess
You think he was still?
And he was
holding
still
on
holding on to me, because we ended
Okay.
up, I don't want to put you on the ground in your nice clothes. But I ended up like this, on top of him, and his head's basically right here. And I'm sitting there like this, and I'm like, let go of my arm, I hit him like that, and that was it.
Okay, so
He
you
let
were,
go, he let go.
you weren't on your side, you were on your knees?
Yeah, I was on my knees. It was kind of like, maybe kind of leaning on him, but I was right here.
And his head was here,
His head is here.
and he was on his side-ish?
Yeah, he was on his side-ish.
Okay.
And I mean, the tower, right here.
And he still had you like
Yeah,
this?
he still had me And he let go after the second time I hit him, and the second time I remember hitting him.
And you hit him with the same arm he's holding?
This one.
Okay,
I'm left-handed.
okay. Are you left-handed?
I am left-handed, yes, sir. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Pruitt, do you have anything?
You said prior before, did you notice any marks on him before, once you approached him? You said he
I didn't.
hit the door.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to his. I didn't even know, wasn't pre-planned.
Was there any, you said you read a report, did medical see him?
Medical saw him according to the report, and according to the medical thing, no. According to medical's documents, no, they didn't see him, but the report says Nurse Whiteway cleared him from the night before. But the day shift nurse, Annaline Visser, she said they don't have any documentation on their end as to him being seen.
You're talking about the fight he had with the other inmate?
Correct.
Okay.
And headbutting the door, or?
Yeah, there's no documentation in medicals and whatever their system is that he was seen. They didn't do any notes on it.
I guess you followed up on that, trying to see if they had it?
Oh no, I went down there and they're like, look what happened to that man. Look what you did. I'm like, I didn't do all that.
And you were trying to figure out something that made sense, I guess?
No, I'd already looked at the report. I'm like, he got in a fight before our little thing, so.
Well, I guess I'm asking how did you know there's no medical records? Did you ask about it, or they?
Yeah, I was like, he got in a fight the night before. She's like, no, he didn't. I was like, yes, he did. There's a report on it. She's like, well, we didn't treat him. I was like, okay. Well, I went and pulled the report. I says, Nurse Whiteway treated and cleared him to return to population.
Since this incident, did you assume you were coming up here?
I assume so, because generally almost every use of force I get in, I come up here.
Is that true? You don't have use of force reports that you never come?
No, I do have some. I said generally. There are some that I don't come up here for, but
And you think it's a majority?
I think it's a good bit, and I was pretty much assumed on this one because there was blood and an injury that I'd be up here. Because he went to the hospital, so.
How many times do you recollect coming up here for a use of force issue?
I don't know, couple, 4, 5, 6.
You think you've been up here 4, 5, 6 times?
I know for a fact I've been up here at least 3. And I don't really have a fantastic memory, but I've been doing this over 9 years, so.
Okay.
I'm assuming I've been here more times than that. I assumed on this one I'd be coming up here simply because he went to the hospital in an ambulance and he had an injury.
Yeah, that's the nature of that kind of thing.
So I figured that I kind of just assumed that I'd be up here.
Do you think there'd be any other contributing factors for you coming up here? Did you have any theories on that?
Not really.
Did you make a phone call to Chadwick after you found out this inmate was injured?
Yes. I called Chadwick on his phone and tell him that a report needed to be signed when he came to work the next day.
Did that conversation go on for a while?
I really asked him, I said, how many times do you think I hit him? I think I hit him 2, possibly a 3rd time. He said, I didn't see you hit him, but I heard about 3 or 4, is what he told me. I was like, okay, well, that sounds reasonable.
It sounds like you were obviously not expecting the injuries that ended up.
Correct.
Established that.
It was not, the injuries that he has are not consistent with what happened to him during our little tussle that we had.
Okay.
I'm stronger than I look, but I'm not a superhero. I can't just shatter somebody's face with a 12-inch punch. I don't have that ability.
You a boxer,
No.
fighter,
Yes.
MMA?
Yes.
So you don't have that ability as an MMA?
I'm generally not a striker, but I'm a ground fighter.
Do you think this force was a little excessive? You broke his face bone, man.
Well, that was not the intent, but now I don't think what I did was incorrect, but
Well, that's,
I don't think the
I
result of it is not proportionate to what,
how long you been an MMA guy?
I've been doing mixed martial arts most of my life.
So you say you'd be trained to do something like that? I mean,
I don't train striking,
Right.
so no.
I think that's semantics, man.
Yeah, but
To make a statement, what Brew is trying to say, to make a statement that you're not trained to be able to hit something. You said you're a ground fighter, right? So most of your ground fights, you're not going to have full range in your punches and all that stuff. But there's
I don't. Well, I guess it's a miscommunication. I do jujitsu, which is not striking. Jiu-jitsu and judo, it's not a striking sport. You don't strike. It's submissions and stuff.
Okay. Did you try any of that stuff?
Do I?
Did you try any locks, wrist lock, any kind of?
No,
You think why not?
because we're not trained in that.
We're not trained in wrist locks.
We're not trained
Control
in anything.
techniques.
We're not trained in anything that could be used in a 12-inch gap while we're on the ground like
I'm
that.
talking about before, like when you were up in it, standing up.
I attempted a takedown, and then we did a takedown.
And then I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm only having trouble with punching someone because they're holding onto the back of your arm in the face. You had control of him as far as he was now on the ground. You had a partner there to help you with hands. If you actually had a injury that you would describe to me as extremely painful that you had hold up, that would make sense. You didn't describe it that way. You said it was just uncomfortable.
Yes.
Okay, so you did have some other options, but I do understand partially what you're saying. So I'm not trying to make any assumptions, but I am trying to get under your head to understand the rabbit punches to the face. You remember 2. Chadwick remembers 3 or 4, which he told you 2. I believe he's being honest. I don't, it wasn't 18. It's not like you were just sitting on top of the guy wailing on him. There's no allegation that you were irate, screaming, yelling, or anything like that. So just it's a very unfortunate situation that the injuries resulted in such a serious nature. And there may be some reason to explain it. Maybe it's the other day, or maybe it's a medical condition. That's all the stuff we'll look at. Okay, it's not all on you, but we want to also know that in a situation you're going to make a decision that's the most appropriate you can make, punching someone in the face because they've got to hold the back of your elbow when you're on physically taking them down, you're on top of them. We just want to make sure you have other options.
Right, man, and looking back at it, there's a million other things I could have done, but that's just not what I did. Was that I don't know that I've ever intended to, I come up here to tell you the truth. I tell you what happened, that's what happened.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Can't sugarcoat anything that I did. I struck him.
There's 2 parts to an administrative investigation. It's determining what happened and also trying to get a feel for the agency and what we have here as employees and where their mind's at and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just to sit here and find you in the wrong. It's also to know that going forward, we won't have you come back up here for another similar issue because you might use a different tactic the next time or learn from, the hindsight you get to have in this. That's all that I'm saying. So I don't want you to make light of the special type of training you have or anything. That's great. That's awesome. But you have to be able to apply resistance in yourself and that stuff because training at the MMA status is not what defensive tactics we have here. There's a
correct. That's why I try not to use them. I'm a defensive tactics instructor too. I try not to use because the vast majority of my training, martial arts wise, other than traditional gi and no gi jiu-jitsu and judo, is Marine Corps martial arts, which is kill, maim, destroy, move on. And I do. I guess that would be my reference as an adult for fighting, but I don't use that because it's not. I don't believe 90% of it's inappropriate for what I do now anyway.
Yeah, in law enforcement.
Because it's not intended to control or restrain somebody, it's intended to destroy somebody and keep going.
Right. Because it's a different job.
And it involves rifles and everything else. There's all kinds of other stuff to it, so. I traditionally try to use my mouth. When that fails, I try to, I've heard a reputation of me that I'm this overly aggressive, violent person, which is completely inaccurate, but, I mean, if I have to use force, I'm gonna use whatever force I need to get the job done and move on. Like, I can't sit there all day, I can't go home hurt, like I have the scar here from an incident a few months ago in January, where I got attacked by an inmate in the infirmary, who was a need to be a little naked guy, clawed me to death with his fingers, and, I mean, I struck him too.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't come up here.
No.
So that's all I'm trying to say, is you say, I listened to that phone call that you had with Chadwick, okay, so you seem to have an expectation of what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I expected to come here with,
And what did you expect us to do?
that's,
Well, you said it in there, so
what is it?
you expected us to accuse you of attacking someone and.
Oh yeah, there's no video of it, so of course, that's just how it generally is. There's video of all the infirmary stuff. That's how I,
No, there's a process to it, so that then there's no video. You have a different process you have to go through because there's no video.
Correct.
It's not.
so that I expected to be here.
Yeah, you should, because that's the agency's responsibility, is to make sure they're holding everything accountable. So what I say is, expect to come up here, but expect that people are just doing their job. Don't expect that it's gonna be some attack on you, because that's what you
Well,
see.
that's
you
generally
were.
how
So
it
that's
feels.
two things.
Well, I'm,
Do you feel like that today?
part of it, yes.
Why is that?
It's just, that's how it is perceived, that's how I perceive it from time to time.
What do you think should happen in these situations? Given this same exact situation, how should the sheriff's office handle that?
I don't know, you're trained to do this job, not me.
But you don't seem to
Just because I don't
understand it.
Just because I don't agree or understand doesn't mean that I'd be better at it than you.
I'm not saying that.
So
I'm asking what you expect as an employee, and if you understood where my mind is, because you're right, because we're in two different places, then you wouldn't feel that way. So if I can help you to understand that, I would love to be able to do that, because I don't want anyone to come up here feeling like they're going to be attacked. That's what they do. There's no video, therefore I'm wrong. That's, to me, it sounds so foreign, because that's the farthest thing from the truth. So,
But I guess that's my perception because that's how I have felt several times.
and the alternative to that is to not bring you up here, right?
No, it's not come up here. I mean, I knew I was gonna come up here. I was gonna have to explain my actions, so I wrote an accurate report. Nothing that I did I can change. I can't change anything that took place. I mean, it is what it is. It was a short incident. It took place. It's over with. I didn't get hurt. I got to go home. My nose a little bit sore and I'm fine. I mean, I had 3 days off after that. I was good to go. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't go anywhere. I was perfectly fine. I went home to my wife, or to my ex-wife and my kids, because I had my kids all weekend.
Well, I understand going home. Trust me, I've been there too. I've written a use of force report too, because I've used force. I've come and talked to them afterwards. You know, it's just part of the process. It's not like it's a surprise. I guess I wish some people understood the process for what it was and not.
But I guess
perceived as an
nobody
attack.
nobody explains the process. I mean, that might help. Is that, I mean, I'm not talking about, training everybody and, maybe, because IA is viewed as the bad guy, you're viewed as the bad guy.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, that's part of your
I
job.
understand.
I guess.
Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm the bearer of bad news. But understanding the process, I understood the process before I was put in this position. It's administrative investigation, which is drilled into us, Garrity and criminal law. It is trained. You just have to choose to apply what you're learning to common sense. Common sense is the sheriff has to run the agency, and he has to be able to hold people accountable. And the only way to do that is to have a unit that looks into it. And it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's not the best feeling in the world, I completely understand. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to take it in as a professional, and as part of the deal. It's not an attack on you before you even walk up here.
I mean, I didn't come in here, ready to fight anybody. I mean,
I understand that. hate it if that's the way you feel.
But that's, I mean, I would love to tell you that I'm the only one that feels that way, but, I mean, I've told people, deputies before, I'm like, just go up there and tell them what happened. I mean, if you thought you were right when you did it, then nothing can happen to you. I mean, you did what you thought was right, and that's what you did.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. And I
Is
don't
that-
feel like at all. And I definitely don't hope you don't think that.
That's the way that it's supposed to be. If you do something if you thought you were right when you did it, then whether you're right or wrong, I mean, you can justify why you did it. If you were wrong, if you knew you were wrong when you did it, then they're telling you I was wrong.
Yeah, there's not much coming back from that if you do.
Yeah, I mean, if you knew, then you go up there and tell them you're wrong and you knew you were wrong. But
Okay.
I mean, I've been in good situations and bad situations, and I don't believe you were here for the last. I mean,
I've only been up here a few months.
I mean, I have, you know, I have a little bit of, I wouldn't call it, I mean, I'm not scared of it, but I have a little bit of bad taste in my mouth from a few times I've been here, if that makes sense.
Up here?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Up here?
Yes, sir.
So you mean when you slapped the inmate who was waist chained? You gotta look at it this way. You're on the street and a citizen reads this, you're sitting on in a witness box or testifying. It's basically a push-pull match and the guy's got a broken orbital socket and 5 staples in his head. I've been served search warrants fighting for my damn life and I ain't done that much damage to somebody. This is law enforcement, man. So I served in the military. I did all that. But you're a sergeant. And you're breaking somebody's damn eye socket off a push-pull? Come on, Sarge. And I don't appreciate that because I investigated your last case where you bitch slapped a dude for grabbing your shirt and he was waist chained.
Oh.
So the command staff's going to ask you, in a push-pull contest, you broke this dude's orbital socket and he's got 5 staples in his head. And there was basically another deputy there with you. You're a trained MMA fighter. You got all this combat experience. You're a DT instructor. And that's what we come out with in a push-pull, a broken eye socket and 5 staples in his head. Yeah, they're damn inmates, absolutely. But that's the decision we make on a push-pull.
Well,
That's what's going to be asked of you at the disciplinary hearing. Because you fucked this dude up on a push-pull. I've been in life and death on the street, just me, and I ain't done that much damage to somebody.
That situation's different. That's the point of this.
that's what I said. Those are the things that I feel attacked on, just like that. Because
Exactly, you got to be that. You was a disciplinary officer at the jail, right? You're sitting over there hearing basically what we're hearing,
Correct.
and you made decisions on that. That's the report. It was a push-pull. He didn't. I mean, you're not injured at all. And how old is this dude? 54 and a drunk coming out of DTs.
Did you take charges on him?
disciplinary? Yes. Criminal, no.
No criminal charges.
There's no.
What disciplinary charges?
Um,
You sticking with?
resisting staff and refusing bail order.
Okay.
So how you think the public would see that? You slapped a restrained inmate. What'd you get for that?
Well, I didn't slap a restrained inmate.
He was waist chained. You bitch slapped him.
I did not bitch slap him. That's part of why I feel attacked.
I watched the video. What'd you get for that?
I got 8 hours off.
Okay.
So on paper, is this the same case through the sheriff's office?
This is actually why I feel attacked.
Why?
This is it.
From the last time?
You're watching it.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess, you're going to have to explain the severity of this. That's all I'm saying. Nobody's attacking. I would expect to get my butt chewed by you broke the dude's eye socket.
I'm aware. I don't believe that I actually did that, but that's.
What is
his injuries?
What is it that I go to the sheriff with and say, yeah, he got punched in the face 3 to 4 times by Sergeant Brennan. He admits to that. But his eye socket got broken in some different way.
No, I'm not saying that it got broken. It's extremely possible that I did that. That was not the intent, and I didn't mean.
I understand that. I understand you didn't say, I'm gonna break this motherfucker's face. I get that, I understand it, but you still made the choice to punch the guy in the face multiple times because he had a hold of your arm. That's still the scenario we have. And feeling attacked on a sustained case that was on video that the sheriff's office has a responsibility to look at, and then now you have another one, and you say that you've been up here multiple times. You've been up here 3 times for use of force cases. And I'm sure if I printed out every use of force by Sergeant Brennan, there'd be way more than 3.
There's 9 pages in ISMS.
Okay, that's fine, because you work in a jail, you work in a law enforcement setting. We expect use of forces to come up. But if your mindset is the majority of the time I have to come up here, when that's not even actually true or even close to true, it's concerning. The fact that you can have a sustained case that's on video, then you feel like that's you being attacked, and when it's an agency trying to be responsible as an agency, you have to document, you have to hold people accountable, you have to follow up on cases like this. And of course it'll increase if you have sustained cases, and then you have one where a guy's orbital sockets. Don't be surprised. Don't feel attacked. Shit, this is what it is. You know?
I'm not surprised by the fact that I'm here. I mean, they told me what his injuries were, and I was like, good Lord. I mean, that's a pretty severe injury for what took place. I mean, the 5 staples in his head, I kind of expected when I saw the back of his head from where he hit. The whole facial fractures, I did not expect.
Yeah, and that's where the
Yeah, I mean, that's
where the case got opened. Because you do a takedown near a tower, it's to be expected someone might bump their head. That's to be expected. But the punches, when you have the guy pinned down by your own body weight and a partner, are hard to explain. And the only offer you could give us was that he had a hold of your elbow.
I mean, that's what took place. There's no.
No, I'm not
I can't
saying
make it. I can't make it.
I'm not
something
saying
that
you
it's
should
not.
say anything else. But at the end of the interview, it's the same as the way you wrote it, which I appreciate. I do. Because it's not always the case. So I appreciate that. And just talking it out and making sure that we've got it. Because if there ends up being some explanation, I want to find it. That's my job, okay? From both sides of it. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. And in the meantime, if I can get someone to understand the whole process so that they're a better employee in the future, I would love to be able to do that, okay? So I hate that you feel attacked.
I don't.
But
it's not from you. It honestly is not.
So Pruitt,
I guess it's the demeanor in which he says things. I mean, maybe that's the way it is.
well, I mean, you
And
were in
it's
the
sitting
Marine
over there.
Corps.
He's
You're in the
sitting-
Marine Corps, right?
Correct.
I'm sure that there's a reason some people approach things a certain way, maybe to drive home. I have an approach, and he has an approach. And I know you've taken different approaches with different people, okay? So if I'm telling you, and you're not understanding it, you're respectfully disagreeing with me, maybe a different approach to get you to understand, and then I can come back on it and say, well, see, because when the agency's looking at it, they're thinking about all the future encounters they're gonna have involving you, anytime you're on the stand, anytime they get a complaint. All this stuff is open records. Everyone has it, and they have their own perception about reading the reports, okay? So if we can do our best to make sure we're getting all the facts straight and putting down on paper the most accurate depiction of what happened, that's what we want to do. There is a different scenario where we are lackadaisical with it, we play around with your job, just make decisions based on your report and testimony of others. We don't do that here. We sit and have uncomfortable conversations and make sure we get it the best we can on paper. So that's what's going on. That's what makes you feel uncomfortable.
That's
because that is the truth. I get it. The way he says it upsets you. I understand that.
And I'm not trying to be that. I mean, I walked out there, and you're eventually going to be on the street one day. And it's like, all that is open records. And you're a sergeant, and you just went to, and I mean, in a push-pull, you just got to understand how they look at it, man. I mean, you busted this dude's eye socket. That's some damage.
It's important, and
Because I've been there and had to explain the damage of a person that you did, but it isn't.
I think the way that it sounds negative to me is that I'm always compared to someone else in a different scenario, on a Monday morning quarterback in a situation that wasn't the same. That's why I feel attacked. So I'm like, you weren't there. You didn't do what I did.
Yeah,
You're
but
correct. You may have done something different. You may not have.
Well, I get that.
That's why I said
people-
I can't go back and change my actions. My actions are what they were. Whether the sheriff and the command staff feel they were inappropriate is up to them. I did what I needed to do at the time to finish the
But we
incident.
don't want to keep